Being a press conference addressed by the National Public Secretary, which is myself of the Young Progressives Party, Comrade Egbeola Olale Martins, on the ongoing End SARS campaign. Today, October 15, 2020, here in the YPP Secretariat. All protocols duly ascertained. The rot in the Nigeria police is a tiny fraction of a bigger Nigerian problem. It is time to address our foundational decay through restructuring. No matter how fast you run, it is useless if you are headed in the wrong direction. The Young Progressives Party, in solidarity with the Nigerian youths, condemn all forms of police and FSA's harassment, brutality, and extrajudicial killing of innocent citizens, both in the past and present, especially in the last 8 days, where some citizens taking part in the End SARS peaceful protests across the nation have either been arrested or killed. Let it also be on record that we condemn the attack of peaceful protesters of End SARS by some thugs who have been paid or sponsored to attack these peaceful protesters. If the government is still finding it difficult to unravel the mystery behind these coordinated, decentralized protests, I wonder how they will be able to also decipher the strategy or tactics if the youth that are being peaceful now change their tactics. So don't force their resolve. Don't force them to resort to violence. They've been so peaceful. They've been going on the street. It's their fundamental right. The police should not attack them. Neither should the police allow thugs to attack them. If other people feel otherwise about this current agitation, our advice to them as a party is that they should go on their own protest, also peacefully, to tell us why SARS should continue or why they hold a contrary view. It is illogical to continue to do things the same way and expect a different result. Hence, the incessant attacks by the Nigerian police will only further aggravate the resolve of a more conscious and resilient demographic group who are tired of being taken for granted and have eventually discovered the extent of power in their collective will to challenge the system. It would be disastrous to attempt to test this will. We repeat, it would be disastrous for the government to attempt to test this will. While we commend President Muhammadu Buhari for listening to Nigerians by disbanding the dreaded FSARS unit of the Nigerian police and further accepting to act on other demands, the failure of the steps taken by the government to assuage the protesters is enough indication that there is a trust deficit between the government and citizens. The Nigerian youth should, however, not be blamed for this perception, as successive governments have made several promises in the past, especially as it borders on the need to end or reform SARS, but failed. And we are all party to this, that even under the Goodluck Jonathan administration, they reformed SARS, they ended SARS, yet nothing changed. Even more worrisome is the fact that the President Muhammadu Buhari-led APC that rose to power on the mantra of change has done nothing but validate this perception by reneging on almost all electoral promises, especially on the promise to restructure the country. The rot in the Nigerian police is just a tiny fraction of a bigger Nigerian problem, as the immediate challenge should be how to address the foundational decay responsible for the multifaceted problems presently confronting us as a nation. The current systemic failure can only be addressed through holistic restructuring of the country to make it more productive and sustainable. Else, it will only be a matter of time with this newly found consciousness by the Nigerian youth that they will begin to organize protests on the myriad of other issues affecting us as a people, such as high rate of unemployment, poverty, and insecurity, to mention but a few. It is noteworthy that the EndSARS struggle has gone beyond the core agitation of police reform, as the need to drastically reduce the cost of governance, accelerate the process of the ongoing electoral reform at the National Assembly, and complete accountability in government has never been more urgent. We salute the courage of Nigerian youth for taking their clamor for a better society beyond social media and matching words with actions. We are glad that we are no longer orphans in the struggle for good governance, as the Young Progressive Party remains the only political party in Nigeria to have embarked on peaceful protests on 2 different occasions this year to demand for restructuring, electoral reform, and good governance. While commending the resilience of Nigerian youths, we also call on them to consolidate on the latest feat achieved in the area of social consciousness by participating in politics and taking over political leadership at all levels, so that we can alter the system and correct the very things responsible for taking us to the streets. The transfer of political power can only be achieved through the ballot, and the only vehicle to secure a mandate is through a political party. Hence, we appeal to Nigerian youth to take ownership of the Young Progressive Party, which is the only political party in Nigeria with a vision to build an egalitarian society, anchored on Nigerian citizens as a prime resource, driven by young, visionary, and mentally progressive leaders without greed. We also call on President Muhammadu Buhari to rescind his decision appointing his personal aide, Mrs. Loretta Onoche, as an INEC commissioner. The Young Progressive Party rejects this appointment, which has the propensity of compromising INEC that is meant to be neutral. Mrs. Loretta Onoche is a member of the APC and cannot be trusted with the mandate of conducting a transparently free and fair election as an interested party without conflict of interest. This is an ill-conceived action capable of further expanding the trust deficit that has been responsible for keeping our youths on the streets in spite of government's assurances that their EndSARS demands have been met. Conclusively, we appeal to all Nigerians, including our members, participating in the EndSARS and End Police Brutality protests nationwide, to continue to do so within the ambit of the law, shun violence, and embrace peace. So we want to appeal that you clearly capture what we have articulated as bordering on the youth to also translate this newfound social consciousness to, political participation and involvement. It's not just enough. How about if they see the youth demographic bloc as potent enough to wrestle power from those who are responsible for our past? That means we have young, vibrant people who are there that will not make governance to look like rocket science. Because to our leaders, governance is something very complex, something that should be seen from the lenses of ethnicity and religion, which is not what the youth stand for. And we thank God that there is a far departure from that mentality. And it is our firm belief that they would own this party, take it over as a vehicle to capture and wrestle power from those who have strangulated us in this nation. And let it be on record that we do not, the Young Progressive Party do not support unconstitutional removal of any government from power. The only way to remove a government from power is through the ballot, and that is what we always advocate. Hence, the reason we are registered as a political party to contest and win elections. But what is sacrosanct is the fact that the EndSARS cliché goes beyond just ending SARS alone. It is a movement that is reflecting so many things that is wrong with our society. And that is why we've always been at the forefront of restructuring. That you cannot continue to do things the same way and expect a different result. As we speak presently, the government is broke. And that is the honest truth. Because if you are going to be borrowing close to 50% of money to finance the budget, it's obvious that the government is broke. I have it on good authority that over 44 government agencies, including the Federal Fire Service, has not been paid since, have not been paid since September. That is a pointer to the fact that the government is broke. So what is responsible for being broke? Is it to borrow money and be paying salaries and be patching the problems we have? The answer is no. Let's go back to what has made this country no longer sustainable. The country is not sustainable, and that is why we are saying, let's visit our foundation. Let there be power devolution. The exclusive list is too congested. The federal government has got enormous powers with little responsibilities. Shed these powers to the states. Let those states that have got the capacity embark on state police. There are states that can finance it. Let decentralize the police. Let the state governor, who is the CNC, be the one appointing a commissioner of police in his state. If that had been done, if they had listened to us, the agitation would have gone to the state government and not the federal government. Nobody will be holding the president responsible for police brutality in Lagos State or in Ogun State. It would have been the fact that they are holding their governors responsible. And their governors, who will not want any trouble, will act with dispatch because they will not want to incur the wrath of their people. So we are saying, let's begin to break it down. The cost of governance is too expensive. Why should we be financing a presidential jet, to maintain a presidential jet to the tune of 12 billion naira? Why should, in this present, in the budget that was presented by Mr. President, financing the renovation of the National Assembly complex to the tune of 10 billion naira, sponsoring the trip of Mr. President and Vice President with humongous amount of money, where there is huge deficit and gap in education, in health? Some of the youth who are protesting are at home because ASU has refused to call off their strike. So these are the issues that the government should be solving. These are foundational issues that we need to address, else we will not make headway. If anybody is thinking that the NSAS is only about ending, putting an end to this legal platform used in extorting Nigerians, no, the answer is no. It goes beyond that. And if the government does not address and restructure this country, even if they are not sure of which way to go about restructuring, good enough the APC set up an El-Rufai panel on restructuring. They came up with recommendations. Let them start by implementing those recommendations. They are far-reaching, and that will even be, a starting point to, addressing this issue. Else, it will only be a matter of time that this conscious youth that we have, who are waking to the responsibility of holding our leaders accountable, will start protesting for lack of jobs. Will start protesting for inability to feed, which is as a result of poverty. Will start protesting for the large insecurity in the country. And these are issues And until you go and address the foundation, nothing will happen. If you are complaining that a place is flooded on account of a tap that is open, what do you do first? You switch off the tap. Not that you start trying to mop up the water. Yes. So what the government is trying to do is to mop up the water rather than switching off the tap. So please, let them visit the foundation of this country. It's been built on lies, and until we address that, we don't believe that there will be any solution in sight.